My name is Amir Arconi. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Superia. Superia is an online marketing company active since 2003 and helping many fintech companies with client acquisitions in various ways and forms. Okay, so our agenda for today. So what is audience-based remarketing? A little bit about the implementation side, technical implementation. Not going to get too much into the technical details, just the key takeaways. How to create the logical audiences for our remarketing lists. How to create a listening culture on our website, in our organization in general. A little bit about lists relating to the conversion journey of the user. How to target with Facebook, how to target with Google. Okay, so traditional remarketing. Is everyone here familiar with the terms remarketing? The term remarketing? Is everyone did the remarketing here? Please raise your hands. Okay. Was it successful? Very successful. Okay, it's one of the most potent marketing methods because many times users don't convert on their first visit, as you pretty much aware of, and still it is quite underused in this industry. I see many brokers don't apply it at all or don't apply it in large scale, and the reason is as much to do with attribution, by the way. Many reasons, but one of them is attribution. Many of you are counting the first click as attributing the conversion to the first click, whereas remarketing by definition is not about the first click, it's about the follow-up clicks. Okay, so remarketing is still very underutilized in the industry, and I've seen many companies marketing campaigns. So traditional remarketing, okay, is about still most of marketers do this, is basically coloring all of your site users, or maybe all of users who reach a certain page, maybe the registration page or the about page or the gold page, and this is pretty much it. Just targeting everyone as a one batch, as a one group. Whereas audience-based remarketing is looking into your audience as a distinct group, as a distinct bucket of people. I mean, there are, in most cases, there are many different types of users on your website. And our aim with smart remarketing is to really segment them and tag them correctly, color them if you wish, to the right bucket. So later on, you can target them very specifically, okay? And then raise your overall conversion rates for the remarketing, okay? Any question so far? Is it clear? Okay, so before we dive into the how to create these logical audiences, I want to talk about about the technical feasibility side. To actually implement smart remarketing or any smart marketing in general on your website, you must have a tag management solution. Okay, Google Tag Manager is usually the straightforward because it's free, it's easy, and it's very powerful. You may use another one, but you must have a tag management tool. Without a tag management tool, any implementation of a pixel that you want to shoot on a certain event on your site, on a certain, anything you want to shoot for analytics or tracking purposes, anything any remarketing tag that you want to shoot has to go through IT. Okay, when you want to do hyper segmentation, like what I'm talking about here, it's not feasible. If you're going to go through your IT department for any snippet of code that you want to shoot, it's probably not going to happen. It's going to happen in 4 months maybe, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of other events that you want to track. You change the page and so forth. So start by that. start by implementing Google Tag Manager on all your relevant pages of your site, on all the events that happen on the pages, such as watching a video, clicking a button, scrolling, whatever event that is meaningful for your website or for the user interaction on your website. You want to create an event on this specific action. And you want to, upon a user triggering such an event, you want to shoot the relevant remarketing tags to the relevant lists, be it Facebook, Google, Criteo, or any other remarketing platform that you use. You want to shoot it to the relevant list that you're creating, okay? So Google Tag Manager or any other tag management solution will help us with hyper-segmentation of our website to create a very targeted list of buckets on our site that we can later on treat differently and in a custom manner that we can convert much better. Okay? So let's talk about creating the logical audiences, and this is really an important step. Okay? You don't want to skip this step. Many times I see companies that are rushing to implement. They want to get the implementation over with. They want to start doing the remarketing. But when I talk about the logical audiences, I'm talking about understanding the different users in your that are active on your websites. Okay, what different type of users are on your website, and spend a lot of time thinking about that critically. I mean, don't assume that any user that clicks here belongs to that bucket, or any user that reaches that page belongs to that bucket. Okay, the idea is to first think about what type of large buckets you have on your site and how those type of users translate into actions on your website. Okay, so do a brainstorming in your company to create these logical audiences, and only then go forward and assign the different interaction on your site to a particular bucket, okay, or group. Okay, clear? Okay, so if we take a look at this trading homepage, we can deduce a few, we can try to start creating different groups. This is quite simplistic what I'm showing here, but this is just for the sake of example, and you can always cross it with other behavior. So for example, anyone that click on the start trading, we might color or assign this user to a trading intent group. Okay, a person that has a trading intent. Okay, it doesn't mean that he really has a trading intent, but if you combine it with staying on the registration page for at least 30 seconds, that might strengthen the intent. Okay. Another group that we can look at here is beginners, users that are looking for information of how to trade. Okay, we can assume that users that click here are beginners, or they're just starting the journey. They've seen an ad, they're interested, they're not ready to trade yet, but they want more education. They want to know how to trade. What does it mean? Users that click on the premium accounts, we can color them into the experienced trader category. Users that are looking into more advanced accounts, users that click on the trading indicators are clearly interested in that, in trading indicators, so we might as well provide that later on in our remarketing ads. Okay, and we can also track events such as started filling a form here but didn't finish it. If a user started filling a form, okay, we can create events, web events on any field, and we can see that the user started filling the form but never completed the form, never submitted it. Okay, so we can create a bucket of users that are started filling the form. Okay, they're still not confident enough with completing the registration. Okay, later on we're going to translate all those different groups that I showed here into different campaigns, different remarketing campaigns, each of them with targeted ads to those specific groups. Okay, We don't want to show how to trade to the people that are interested in premium accounts and vice versa. We want to show exactly what kind of VIP great terms and incentives we offer to people opening a VIP account, okay? Okay. Another way to segment our audience is to look at the different instruments that they are interested in. So people clicking on currencies and on commodities, indices, whatever the instrument is, we can deduce the interest in this specific commodity or instrument. Okay? So we can create a group of people interested in indices trading or in specific in gold or in a certain index, such as the OZ 200. Okay? Again, we need to sometimes it's a little bit too simplistic, and we want to make sure that they have this intent, so we might cross it with another event, okay? And only then decide to assign them to the relevant bucket. Okay, so we talked a little bit about event-based, any event that the user is doing, such as typing, such as clicking, such as watching a video. We can also create audience based on the URL that they have visited. Of course, this URL, I'm talking about desktop and mobile, it's same. So we can, of course, target users that have reached a certain page, X. For example, a person visiting our banking options or payment options for over 60 seconds, for example, might be looking for making a deposit, and they want to know how they can make a deposit, in which credit cards or other payment forms. Okay, so we might create this group for a very short span of the remarketing list here need to be very short. For example, only 1 or 2 days, because they are ready to trade. They're really interested in how to make a deposit. So we want to give them to tap into this audience right away. Okay, a person that is already been there 15 days ago is less relevant already. Okay, he was hot when he was doing this specific interaction on our site. Of course, we can do a combination of pages. If a person is reaching this, that, and that page, we can deduce that he belongs to that group. And of course, time on page, we can also use time on page filters to filter out random clickers. And there are lots of those on the web, by the way. There are a lot of people that just click. They have no interest in trading or any purchase intent. And as a side note, be careful with your Facebook campaigns, because in Facebook you can see it a lot. You get huge interaction, but very, very little. Sometimes, if it's not properly done, you get lots of interaction, very little business from it, because there are many, many clickers on the web. So you want to filter out only people that been on the page for at least 20 seconds or 30 or 15 seconds. You determine are really interested in that content. Okay. So it helps us narrow down our list and make them more accurate, okay? Not spend our money on just random clickers. Okay, creating a listening culture in the organization means that we want to build our site so users can very easily and very quickly fulfill their need or their information need, or they can access the content and the functionality they want right away. Okay, it means that people today over the web are overwhelmed with proposals, with marketing promotions, they don't spend a lot of time digging into your website and finding out what you're offering if they don't find it right away, basically, without the need to scroll or to dig very deeply into your site. So what you need to do is think, and this comes back to what I mentioned before, it comes back to really understanding your audience and even doing surveys and doing lots of analytical work to understand your audience, your core audiences, and what are they looking for. And build your site around the idea of helping them find it right away, very easily and very accessibly. Okay, this serves two purposes. One, it will improve your conversions. The second is that it will allow them to perform the actual interaction right away, which will allow you then to assign them to the correct bucket and then retarget them correctly. Okay. So building a site in terms of navigation, in terms of the content display, in terms of layout of the pages is critical. So you can really listen to your audience. You can really understand, let them express what they want and understand where they belong in your site, in your system. And don't just look for the conversion. Okay, people are overly emphasizing the value of the conversion of the lead or the registration. Look for genuine signs, signals of intent. Okay, web signals, interaction on your site that reflect a real intent, a real trading intent, a real interest in your product. And this is important because sometimes you focus too much on the leads and you don't know who you're losing. The ones that have the intent but didn't find what they want and they moved on, and they could be great customers of yours. Any question about intent? About okay. So we talked about about how to create logical audiences, about how to build a site towards creating those logical audiences, towards allowing users to express what they want. Note that in the Forex and binary industries, many times the conversion is not closed online, it's closed offline by call center representative. And it's very important to attribute the conversion back to the source that got the conversion, okay? Because otherwise, if the sales rep open a new account for the user, or if the system, the CRM is not built so it attributes, so it can identify this user and attribute it back to the click stream that originally brought him to be now in a conversation and perhaps make a deposit, you're just losing all the data, this critical data of the user, of what got him to this point of making a deposit, okay? Which is critical for your decision making, for your advertising budgets, for your allocation into channels, into different campaigns within a channel, okay? So this is really critical, and we know that many users in the industry convert offline, by chat, by phone. It's very important to create a web event to reflect this conversion event, okay? The web event in the CRM, that once the rep is closing over the phone, it shoots back the event with the relevant cookie, if you will, and attribute it back to the correct click stream, okay? Is that clear? Please ask if it's not. Okay. So if we look at the conversion journey of a typical broker, we see that we got the all users on our site. Then we have the non-bounce users, all the users that didn't just bounce right back. We have intent signals. They might be the third visit on our site. They might be looking in our spreads, in our payment option, etc., watching a video through, and any different signal of intent on our site that might show us that we have a real user that has a genuine interest in our product. Then we have the lead registration. We have the FTD, first time depositor. And then we have the retention. We also want to reactivate users, okay? We can do it we can do it in many forms. When we talk about remarketing, we can remarket to our own audience of FTDs. We can remarket them when there's a fluctuation on the market, when there's a certain promotion that, a strong promotion that we offer. We can tell them, go on and continue trading. The gold now, we got now great conditions on gold. And so this is a way remarketing can be not only a tactic for acquisition, but also a tactic for getting our users to trade more, to be more, to be a higher value clients. Okay? So we can use retargeting for that. By the way, we can use different forms of marketing as well. Of course, email marketing, most of you do it. If the user has your app, then push notification, etc. Basically, those are the main areas to focus on. Okay, those are the main. Yes, please. Yeah. So well, you can color them based on what they do on your site. Basically, you can tag a user that just reaches your page. As we said, this is traditional or more naive remarketing. Any user that reaches your page, you're going to tag them, and then you can run remarketing ads on them. But what I'm talking about in this presentation is not only running on just the group of all users, but just based on the behavior on their site, deciding who you want to target for remarketing. And not only that, but also segment them into different logical audiences. So target each of them separately. The remarketing is done, basically, there are many platforms, but the main ones are Facebook. Yeah.
Facebook.
Sorry? Yeah, please.
Okay.
The question, okay. The question was, how do you know about the intent? How do you know that the user has the intent? So, as
I understand about the intent. How do I remarket to him if he didn't register or gave me the lead details?
You don't need the email. This is remarketing works by planting a cookie on the user browser, and then depending on the remarketing platform, you can retarget them on Facebook, across Google Display Network. I'm going to talk about that in a second. You can target them in other retargeting networks such as Criteo, MyThings, and many other networks. Okay, but you don't need the email for the retargeting. You need the email for email marketing, but you don't need. By the way, emails are great assets for remarketing. I'll talk about that in a few slides. Okay. But in general, you don't need the email. You just need the visit. But the point I'm trying to make in this presentation is don't just use the visit as people do right now. Just create a system where each user is colored. First, filter out the random clickers and those without the intent. Don't waste your marketing dollars on those. And then for the people that you do identify a real intent, segment them into different groups, so you can target each group separately with different ads, with different landing pages. Okay, this is the idea.
Thanks.
If you clean these cookies, then this data is gone?
Well, this is, of course, no system can, at the moment, can work without the cookie, but for the big platforms such as Google and Facebook, even if he clears his cookie and next time he goes to Google and sign in, Google knows that it's the user. Same with Facebook. So even if he cleans his cookie and comes back to Google or Facebook, the cookie is recreated. Google knows that it's the same user. So this is the advantage of the big boys, Google and Facebook, versus small platforms that don't have the login data, that users are not always logged into them. Okay. This also bridges desktop and mobile. Because if users visit your mobile, your site on mobile and you run remarketing with Google, then Google can identify these users back on his desktop as well. Google knows that it's the same user as long as he's logged into Google, right? Even if he's not logged in, they have Android. So if he's on Android, they know it's the user, even if he's not logged into Google. Okay. Usually, the membership for any list, you can create it depending on the system for even hundreds of days, but the recommended the recommended cycle for each stage to try to move them forward to the next stage is 7 days. Okay, and the idea is that we try to move them we try to move them one step at a time. Okay, we don't try to put the people with intense signals right into our retention mode. We just try to move them to register. We give them enough reason to register. For those who are registered, we want to convince them to make their first deposit by making a great offer or any other thing that offering them good spreads, offering them one-on-one training, whatever helps convince them to start trading. So those are different groups, different buckets of users that need to be handled separately, each. Okay? So this is another way. What I showed right here is another way to look at segmenting your audience into different groups. It's not, it can coexist with the previous segmentation which I offered, which was based on their behavior on your site, the specific intent, their specific interest in an instrument or any other thing. You can cross it and you can combine it. It's not one or the other. Okay, they can coexist together. Those two ways of segmenting the users. Okay. A person, just for making an example, a person can be interested in gold trading. Gold is what interests him. And he can be a registered user. So you want to remarket your great spreads for gold to start trading on gold. Okay? Okay, so oftentimes people ask, does remarketing work? And I'm here to tell you that it does. You don't always know it because attribution in many systems is quite one-dimensional, and look at the first click. Okay, many brokers in the industry look at the first click as the source, the main source of the attribution to credit, but the reality is more complex than that. Sometimes without the remarketing, the user would never have converted. And a more sophisticated approach is to build an attribution model that gives credit to each step of the way. Okay, there are tools in Google Analytics and in other platforms that can help you with building an attribution model and assigning it on your audience. And customization is key here. Okay, if you just segment your user amazingly, after all, we're talking about advertising here, okay? We're talking about the basics of advertising and marketing always apply. Just making an amazing work on the technical infrastructure side of implementing Google Analytics, implementing Google Tag Manager, building the segments, and then just not doing a good job on the advertising side, on creating great ads, okay, for each segment, creating great landing pages will not work for you, okay? So, for example, for a user that belongs to the gold interest group, we want to create gold banners, and then gold, when he lands, we also want to offer him the spreads for the gold and whatever, and send him to convert. Okay, so remarketing and any other thing we do is just part of marketing. We need to do it right. Without that, nothing will work. Any questions about that? Okay. So far we talked about the necessity of Google Tag Manager. Okay. We talked about creating a logical audiences, about creating a listening culture in our organization. We talked about the core lists of the conversion journey. Now let's talk a little bit about the targeting itself. Okay. After we have done all this great work, we need to go out and target those users. Okay, so Facebook for once is an amazing platform for remarketing. Do you know why? Why is Facebook so great for remarketing? Exactly. You are there all day, and a lot of time you're there when you have leisure, when you're not in a hurry. Okay, when you're susceptible to listening, to receiving offers. Okay. So, yes. Yes, that's true. Google too, by the way. Okay. Now, so let's talk about Facebook ads, which are extremely underutilized in the industry, by the way. The reasons for that is that the ad system is not as mature as Google. It changes all the time. It's an amazing ad system, but it's not very easy to handle. Just recently, they restructured everything with a new pixel, and you had to replant all your Facebook codes across your site. There's not a whole bunch of knowledge such as exists in Google Adwords in the industry. And again, the attribution is always an issue with remarketing. Now, Facebook, about 1 year ago, rolled out an amazing tool. Okay, they were actually the first in the market. They advanced Google on that. And it's called custom audiences. Okay, it allows you to import. This is how you create audiences in the Facebook system. You can see, you don't see much, but all the logic is behind the scenes. Okay, this is just how it looks in their ad system. You can determine the number of days in the group. You can determine which event to target. The great thing is that you can import your own. Okay, you can import your own email list, your own custom email list. Okay, so the most trivial thing to do is to upload your registration list, people that registered and never became an FTD. Okay, and try to retarget those, right? So any email list that you have that is useful, that is meaningful, that has people with the intent or people serious about trading, you can upload to the Facebook system. Facebook will anonymously identify this group and you can target them. Okay, this is quite amazing. This is very powerful. As I mentioned before, you can also create the custom list of website users based on the audience logic I described before. This is also part of custom audience. You can create what is called lookalike audiences. Is everyone aware what is lookalikes? Everyone knows? If you don't, I will explain. Okay, so lookalike basically lets the system find common attributes between the existing list that you have and go out and find you more users that belong to the same profile. For example, age, gender, interest groups, workplace, geographical area, age, any common data point that Facebook can find, it can then apply to find more users of the same group. Okay, if there's an unusual concentrations of people from a certain area of New York City, it will find you more people in this area of New York City. Okay, maybe for a particular reason, this area of New York City is very susceptible to your offerings. Okay, so lookalike audience, after you have a good core list, okay, after you have a good core list of users, you can go on and apply lookalikes to find more users. Okay, another quite cool option that Facebook offers is the audience insights tool. Once you have a custom audience on Facebook, you can look at the attributes of this custom audience. Okay, you can see what are their interest groups, what are the demographics. Yes, 5 minutes? Okay. Marital status, profession, okay, many other things, which you can then go forward. If it's a very good custom audience for you, you can go forward and try to target those people directly on Facebook. For example, people that are veterans. Okay, if it identifies that many of your good customers are veterans, you can go out and target veterans in general in Facebook in a certain geographic area, in a certain whatever segmentation you want to do. Okay, some tips about Facebook's. Create small seed lists, no more than a few thousands per country. Okay, you want to keep it very, very clean. Don't put a lot of noise into your core list. Just take your best traders, best users, I don't know, because if you don't, the system will bring, if you put noise in the audience, the system will bring more noise with it, okay, when it goes on to do lookalikes. Keep them updated. 30 days is the maximum I can think of. And try lookalikes based on high intent seed lists, people that show very high intent of trading, not necessarily people that actually traded with you, but showed a very high intent of trading. Okay, we have Google Adwords, which is still the prevalent, the largest platform for retargeting, the Google Display Network. Okay, the advantages of Google are clear. Their reach is enormous, over 1 billion users. The control of your ads, the control over your ads, your budgets is very good in Google AdWords system. You have many ad formats, 8 sizes of banners, text ads, video ads. Google show in-app ads. You can display many different ad formats to your users. You can do flexible bidding on AdWords. In different hours of the day, you can bid differently. You can pause your retargeting altogether for a certain hours. For example, from midnight to 8 a.m., you can pause your campaign. Okay, in the system, offers a lot of flexibility on that. You have Google Analytics. This is a major advantage on Google AdWords. Google Analytics integrates into Google AdWords. This is the only system that fully integrates into Google Analytics. So you can look at the user level, not just the session level. You can look at the user level, for example, user that visited your site over 3 times. This can be done only with an analytics system that keeps history, that has a memory, so to speak. Okay, so this type of targeting can only be done with AdWords, okay, with Google. Google now offers customer match. It's quite new. About 1 or 2 months ago, they rolled it out. They actually were behind Facebook on that. They also offer you to import your own email list into the Google system and then target them across the properties of Google, Gmail, Google Display Network, Google Finance, etc. Okay. Smart List, Google Analytics has its own algorithmical smart list. What they call smart lists, they offer to give you their own audience, the audience that the system identifies as the most relevant for you. So this is another option to try with Google AdWords. And you can also target video ads on YouTube. Which stages, by the way, do you think are more relevant for video ads on YouTube? Which stages in the conversion journey, to be more precise? Exactly, education. People you want to give them in the earlier stages of the funnel. YouTube ads can be great. Again, the attribution probably will show you that they don't convert, but it's not necessarily true. If you expose your brand and you get your brand to be perceived as an authority with education, with the brand, with a larger brand, this might translate into brand searches. Then you see that all of your depositors coming from your brand search. Okay, but they were born somewhere. Okay, they didn't just came out from nowhere. They weren't born in a vacuum. So if you do a lot of great marketing, you're gonna end up also with many people coming direct into your site and doing brand searches. Okay. Okay, so some key takeaways. So tagging your users into buckets and tag management tools such as Google Tag Manager is essential for that. You can use Google and Facebook to build very smart, very granular retargeting based on your own logic, based on your own lists. Okay, as I said before, the logical segmentation into audiences is the key here. This is the most important stage. Okay, so don't skip it. Don't just run to build a few groups and start pumping ads into these groups. Think a lot about your audiences, what they want, what they expect, and only then go forward and implement all the funnel. Okay, the implementation of all aspects of the funnel is critical, as I mentioned, the ads, the landing pages, and of course the initial targeting that we build. That's it. Thank you. If you wish to contact me, you can send me an email. And if you have any questions, please feel free.
I would advise to ask. This is a rare opportunity to get such a hands-on information and know-how, so exploit it.
Yes, please.
For pixel-based retargeting campaigns, what would you say is the minimum audience size you would recommend to get some decent statistical results and optimize?
I would say that I would not create a group of less than 1,000 people. 1,000 people is very small in targeting, but if you are very, very exact, the smaller the list is, also the higher bids that you have to offer in general. But 1,000 is pretty much the baseline I would
Thank
say.
you.
Sure.
For B2B campaigns as well?
Yes, I think for B2B it's critical, you know. For B2B, the sales cycle is even longer than in B2C. Then your remarketing is, even if you don't see an exact correlation between the remarketing campaign and the acquisition, the decision-making process in the company, your business customer is much affected by different people in the companies. And the more you get in front of them, and the more you make the value proposition very clear and very prominent in their eyes when they browse the internet, the chances of making the sale ultimately are much higher, even if it takes 2 or 3 months to make a decision with a business customer. Okay. So maybe the list should be longer for B2B. The list should not be 7 or 30 days. Maybe the duration should be 60 days or 90 days for B2B customers.
How do you deal with attribution across different channels? So if someone, for example, has seen a social media ad and then a Facebook retargeting ad and then clicks a PPC ad and then comes from SEO, are you using kind of first click, last click, or what's the kind of modeling for correctly attributing different channels?
Yes, this is a great question. Attribution models, basically there's no right answer for that. Okay. In general, there are a few approaches on that. Some assign value to the first and last clicks. Okay, they give 50% to the first and 50% to the last. Some assign an equal value to all touch points across the way. So if you had 4 sources leading the user until the user converted, then you assign 25% of the value to each step of the way. There's no right or wrong on this, and I wouldn't get the fact that you're doing it is more important than the exact formula. Okay, so to get into doing this is actually quite radical. Even as we approach the end of 2015, I would bet that 90% of the participants at these conventions are not doing it, not doing attribution modeling. So don't try to be like super exact with giving maybe 1 point here or there. Just the fact that you're looking at the full picture and making more smarter decisions is more important than the exact attribution model.
Do you use any specific software for that, or just Google Analytics?
Well, you can use Google Analytics. Okay, for once, this is they have some built-in tools for modeling. In the premium version, there are even more. You can build your own software, your BI software that does it. So I would say, and there are of course core metrics and other platforms that are paid platforms that cost quite a lot, that are good at attribution. Depends on your budget, and it's a big project. So I would not try to do it perfect and invest like many tens of thousands of dollars initially. Maybe after that, after it gets so effective, there's a reason why to do it even super accurate. But at first, use Google Analytics maybe, which is free. And then you have to maybe to pay a few thousands of dollars to an employee or to an outsource to do the right implementation to measure it correctly. And that's it. And start looking at the data. Only after it gets interesting, go and spend like larger sums to do it perfectly. Okay.
For a company that wants to take advantage of remarketing, what would you say briefly is their advantage and disadvantage between two options? One, doing it in-house with their in-house marketing resources, or doing it with a company like Superior?
Okay, so basically it comes down to expertise. If the company has expertise in both Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, and the advertising platform themselves, they can do it in-house very well. If the company has partial expertise in just some of those tools, which is the case with most companies that have at most partial expertise, they are better off with doing it with someone who can tie it all together, who can do the GTM side, the Google Tag Manager side, the analytics side, the targeting on Facebook and Google. So Superior can be very helpful. We do a lot of that, but it all comes down basically to expertise. If you have the expertise, you can do it. Okay. Yes.
I understand that obviously it fires, Pixel can fire on a certain URL, but I didn't
Or
know,
event.
I didn't know it can fire on a specific event on a page, so it can know if you've read certain text or a certain section.
Yeah, if you read a certain section, I mean, it cannot know where your eyes looked, but anytime you click a mouse or you scroll down or you watch a video, anything that translates into a certain interaction of the user, not just, it doesn't know if you read line 1 but didn't read line 2 because there's no web
But
event.
if you had either say like a drop down or something and you open that drop down,
Definitely.
and that's normal GTM functionality. Mm-hmm.
Definitely, and it can know which field you selected in a drop down menu. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely. Good question. Any other questions? Now, last chance. Thank you.